Thanks everyone for coming to our brain and gut questionnaire session. And so part of this talk is you may have heard many of the items that we're about to cover. Others, you may not have heard many of the things. We want to start first saying that we're not dietitians or doctors. If you have any nutrition concerns or dietary concerns, consult your own doctor. So in today's talk, we'll be discussing how the brain and the gut work together. So you may be wondering, well, how does the brain and the gut work together in yoga? Well, in yoga philosophy, honoring your body is an important part on and off the mat. So as we start, we'll be handing out a questionnaire for you to take a few minutes and answer. And then after you finish answering it, fold it in half and put it in the back of your journal and put it away. We'll review it later. Okay? Let's just take a few minutes for that. And if you don't know the answers, I'm sure you could pick one in there that feels right for you. So just fold it in half when you're done and put it in the back of your journal. We'll review it later. Little humor. So as you finish up, I'll be reading through the script. We'll do some show and tell. You'll be using, um, yeah, you'll use your journal for this as well. Okay. So did you know that when you have any kind of subtle changes in your body, it can affect your brain too? There's a relationship between your brain and your gut, which are housed in different parts of the body, right? So when mental health is affected, the root of the problem is not solely in the brain. Our guts have huge influence on over the neurotransmitters that influence our cognition and mental health. So Ashley's going to show you a picture of the vagus nerve, and we'll pass it around so you can see it. But as she's seeing it, the vagus nerve is also known as the wanderer or a healing nerve. It originates in your brainstem back here and it travels all the way to your gut, connecting your gut to your central nervous system, which is your brain and your spinal cord. When it reaches the gut, you'll see in the picture, okay, it's a picture. Okay. So can I have that just back and then I'll give it back to you guys. Yeah, just 1 second. I'll return. Okay. So we'll distribute again. So during the brain, so here's your vagus nerve that comes right here, goes all the way to your gut. You'll see little things that come out. It's basically untangles itself and then it's like it surrounds your whole gut like a tightly knit sweater. When it reaches the gut, it starts to entangle. Because the vagus nerve penetrates your gut, it plays an essential role in the digestion of your food, but its key function is sure that nerves run up, the communication runs up and down from the brain to the stomach all day long. They're lifelong partners, your brain and your gut. That's why it's called brain gut romance. So, has anyone ever felt a little stress, a little anxiety? You go somewhere, you're kind of all tensed up, or you're in your car or something, and you're just kind of out of whack. But you can't like just lay down, can't just stop. However, we're going to reset your vagus nerve right now to calm you down, and you can do this anywhere. It's that simple. So, I'll explain it to you, and we're going to take 2 minutes to do it. And we may practice it again or not, but you can do this anywhere. You can stand up, you can sit down, you can lay down. So I would like everyone to take their hands and interlace them in back. Okay? Now your eyes are going to remain open. And if you have any tension in your arms, you can put them in your lap. That's fine. So take your eyes up to 12 o'clock. Now move your eyes to 3 o'clock. And just keep your eyes to the side. And just breathe normally. And keep your eyes focused to 3 o'clock, your eyes to the side. And you'll know when you have reset your vagus nerve when you yawn, you sigh, or you swallow. Now you could repeat this a few times, but we're just going to stay here. Try to reset our vagus nerves. Just calming down, soothing our brain. Just keep quiet, eyes to the right side. And then you can bring your eyes up to 12 o'clock and bring your eyes over to the left side, kind of at 9 o'clock, and stay there. This will reset your vagus nerve, calming your body, calming your mind. Just stay here, just relax. Just completely relax. Your body will automatically, when it's ready, it will yawn, sigh, or swallow. A few more seconds, just relax, let it happen. And slowly bring your eyes up to 12 o'clock and bring your hands down. That's how you reset your vagus nerve. I'm sorry. Or yawn. It just means that, like, yeah, it's a great question. So, what does it mean, like, if you didn't do it? Well, it takes a few, because we're all doing it together, right? Your mind, it's your first time doing it. You're like, I don't know what I'm doing, like I'm doing here. But I have done it numerous times. It does work. The more you do it, your body just relaxes. And it's very simple. So, I've done it laying down, I've done it seated, I've done it standing. And like I said, you can just even stay here and then do 12 o'clock and then look to the right side and to your 3 o'clock and then just stay there. But it will automatically reduce the tension and reset you. So that's a simple, exercise you can do. So if you're at work and you're all tensed up and you're like, "Rah," or anything, if you're really upset about something, just had something, just take time either to lay down, knees could be up or down, and your arms could be on your stomach or in back. Find what's comfortable, but the main point is to have your eyes open and moving your gaze to the 3 o'clock. You can, if that works for you, or you can just go back and forth a few times. But it will reset you and it will calm you down. So that's an important part of the vagus nerve. You could have done it, right? So I want to explain to you about your brain and chemical attraction. So just bear with me. There'll be make it a little techie. So we're going to talk about how your vagus nerve that runs down communicates with your brain and gut. So the basis of the brain and gut is all chemical. So now I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to you have a splitting headache right now. Just pretend it's just pounding. And I want you to take a bottle of ibuprofen and open it up and take 2 pills out, just with your hands. Pretend you're doing that. And then they take the 2 pills and put it in your mouth and take your water and swallow it. You could just pretend you're doing that with that. And when it's there, those pills make their way to your gut where it's broken down. The chemicals from the pills travel from your gut to your brain through your bloodstream. Once the pill passes to your brain through your bloodstream, it decreases the inflammation and loosens up all that tension in your brain and your blood vessels. So you open your eyes. That's what it feels like. So as we continue our talk, let's talk about cortisol. Does anybody know what cortisol is? Correct, stress hormone. And it's also the basis of flight or flight. So we use you, Jennifer, as an example is, oh my God, I forgot my, yoga mat. You get kind of in a tizzy, someone cuts you off, you get into that fight or flight, and then all of a sudden your cortisone goes all out of whack. It's a protection for your body when there's some sort of threat. And once you calm down, the cortisol returns back to normal. So the gut plays an important role in cortisol as it releases it, and it makes sure that your body acts effectively over stress. So when you have a healthy body, like everything's running fine, like everything's all good, your chemicals between your brain and your gut, they just work flawlessly. I'm all relaxed. And like today, I'm relaxed. I'm good. Everything's just flowing. But what happens then over time is, say you become stressed, you overproduce or underproduce the cortisol, and then all of a sudden we have disruption in our brain and gut. It happens. So what happens with that is that the important chemicals besides cortisol, serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine get all out of balance. So how does that react to your body? Well, you may get irritable or moody, right? You're stressed out. You may have disrupted in concentration. I can't think, I can't remember. Like I couldn't remember where I put my phone after Kim found it 3 times for me. Okay. So then we also have a decrease in your body's immunity. So when you're stressed out, your body immunity gets affected. Also, in your gut, this protective barrier, the chemicals need to stay and flow evenly. However, many times the bad chemicals, they get all mixed up and they create chaos in your body. So what happens when it goes array, like you're all stressed out? Well, you can go and take a pill. You could go get a prescription. That's perfect. However, we have a few other tools that you just may want to listen to and recommend. They're just suggestions. So another thing in your gut is our gut has bacteria. We have good guys and we got bad guys. And so oftentimes the good guys get mixed up with the bad guys, not good. So what happens is we get inflammation. So your brain, so when your butt and your gut go south, what happens? Well, your brain wants proper balance of the gut bacteria to make the chemicals stable and healthy. But what does your gut need? Your gut needs to be stable and healthy so it can maintain the proper balance of your gut balance. So the gut, our vagus nerve, as we said, is a two-way street, up and down, up and down. For most women and men, the food that enters our stomach can warm our hearts and change our brain. Food can be a powerful medicine if you make the dietary correct choices. As you often heard, a great meal can fix anything and make you feel better. So, Ashley has a picture of inflammation. So we'll be showing it first and then we will explain it to you. So inflammation. So oftentimes we get swelling. We have inflammation in our joints. We may have inflammation in our head. Everything can go disarray. And so what do we do about it? So let's talk about food. So we all know, and sometimes we practice and we do really well with food, right? We eat good food, and then other times, well, not so good. So when we have inflammation, how do we decrease it? All of a sudden I have, a bellyache, I have swollen, legs. What do we do? So We want to first start out to be really mindful what we put in our body. So when you go shopping, be mindful. So what should I eat? Well, you want to start very simple. If you can make small changes in your diet, make them small. What are anti-inflammatory foods? Does anybody know? Give me something of what an anti-inflammatory food could be. Okay, perfect. So that includes any green leafy things. You be your carrots, your squash, all the good foods, not sugar. And on the other flip side, so this is really important. So sometimes when you're stressed out, right? Everyone wants to just, okay, where's the chocolate? I want to eat that chocolate. I'm feeling bad, right? You may have some, you know, the girly month comes every month and you want to go for the chocolate. However, those can create a lot more inflammation. It's super easy to go and get the chocolate. Super easy to get the, the ice cream, super easy to get a bag of chips, super easy to get candy, super easy. However, when you're inflamed and your gut and your brain is off, the most important thing is not to put a lot of like tons of red meat, any processed food, that is really bad for your body. Pay attention to when you're cooking, white rice, replace it. Sugar, we talk about that in a few minutes. White flour, soda, doesn't matter. Regular or diet. There's so many chemicals in there, really, really bad for your body. So if you have pop every day, perfect. But maybe have only a half a can or try to have it every day. But there's so much chemicals in that you may want to be conscious of that. So another thing that's happened that you may have not known is that added sugars now have popped up in our food. So what that means is that we're getting 13% more of our daily calories out of table sugar, hidden sugar, high fructose, corn syrup. And so what that means, we've added all the sweeteners in our food. And now we're eating an additional approximately 17 teaspoons of sugar added to our diet, which then creates inflammation. Again, we disrupt our brain and gut. So, this excludes the vegetables, your fruit, dairy products. Now, I challenge you to start looking at milk. And some, not all, but some milks have added sugar now in there. So you have kids. You go there and look, are there any added sugars? So that's why we're getting, in a sense, sicker as we grow older because of a lot of processed foods. So as food for thought, so it's important, as we said, to keep your mind and encourage a healthy gut and brain relationship. So food affects our brain and again impacts all that gut bacteria. Some foods grow healthful bacteria and others not. They inhibit it. So also eating the right foods is really important because it can have a negative effect, including sadness, fear, depression. So it's again super easy to go and grab that stuff, but it really is not good for your brain and gut. So what should I do? So we want to pay attention to how and what we eat and listen to our body. So when you start eating, and I don't know how many people like, I'm starved, man, I just start shoving that food and I don't even listen to it getting to my body. So we just want to relax it, go slower, not faster, and fill up our belly with healthy food. So what we're going to talk about now is what the food companies are doing. Does anybody know what the food companies have done this year? That's a mandate. Correct. So what they have done this year is now your nutrition facts, which Ashley is going to pass around, they must specify how many grams of total sugars is in that product. as well as the percent of daily value of calories. So when you start reading things, you'll see natural sugars. Then you'll see added sugars. And then you'll see total sugars. So pay attention to that. That wasn't there. And so we've been really conscious of buying things and looking at that added sugars, because if you're putting 17 tablespoons or teaspoons of sugar in your body without even realizing, you may want to be more mindful of that. So why they've had to disclose is that people now, what we want to do is reduce healthcare costs. So the more you start selecting different options for your food, like saying, well, we're going to just do a fun exercise in a minute. But if you start looking at your labels and start looking at different options of saying here's this brand and here's this brand. Well, this has 10 grams of sugar, but this only has 5. The more you do that, that's going to change the food industry of getting out the sugar out of our body and saving healthcare costs. So what we have here is on your piece of paper, Ashley's going to do show and tell. Everyone get their journal out. So I want you guys to guess how much sugar you believe is in this entire can of spaghetti. No, just write down. Yeah, we're just gonna write down, we'll go down the list. And then we'll review it. She's gonna show you all of them, and then we're gonna review it together. All right, we're gonna go on to the serving size is a half a cup. So we just write down how many grams of sugar you believe in. Next thing is a raspberry walnut vinaigrette. So we're going to do this on salad. So the serving size for this is 2 tablespoons. So how many grams of sugar do you believe in this raspberry walnut vinaigrette? Move on to frosting. So this is 2 tablespoons of frosting is a serving size. So I'm going to how many grams? Next, we have almond butter. So like peanut butter, the serving size for this is also 2 tablespoons. So how many grams of sugar? Next is jelly. So grape jelly. The serving size for grape jelly is 1 tablespoon. So I'd like you to put down how many grams of sugar in 1 tablespoon of jelly. And our last one is a can of cranberry sauce. And the serving size is 1/4 of a cup. So you guys put how many grams of sugar you think is 1/4 of a cup, which is probably be half a yogurt. So we're going to start and you can kind of put up your answers, but we're going to start. How many grams of sugar do you think is in 1 whole can of spaghetti? 14 grams. 21. All right, so actually it's 16. So you're pretty close though. Good. But yeah, spaghetti has submitted
Oh, yes. 18. The next one is maple. So, in a half a cup, what were some of the ingredients? And one serving is actually 11 grams. But of those 11 grams, it's 9 grams of added sugar. So because how the FDA is making them put the included added sugar on there. Otherwise, they would only put that there's total of 2 grams of sugar, but now we have to have that extra 9 is 11. So be mindful of that when you get that in. Next we have our white raspberry walnut vinaigrette. So in 2 tablespoons of this dressing, how many? 23. There's 7 grams. So I don't know about you guys, but I doubt my analysis. That was something like half the bottle. A lot. So next, we're moving on to roasted frosting. So the serving size is 2 tablespoons. Anybody want to go ahead and guess how many sugars? Okay, so there's actually 17 grams. So of those 17 grams, all 17 grams are added sugar. All right, moving on to our almond butter. So serving size is 2 tablespoons. How many grams of sugar do you think? 2 tablespoons. 7. Actually, 2. Yeah, 2. So half a pound, which is good. Alternative peanut butter. Yeah, grape jelly. So this was a serving size of 1 tablespoon. Yeah, really.
Wow, way to go.
And then the last one is good old cranberry sauce. So serving size is quarter of a cup. How many or 15? I don't know. 22. Yeah. You get that? Yeah, there's 22 grams of sugar and
So we've learned about, thank you, Ashley, we've learned about added sugars. So when you go shopping, what you want to be, as I said, start reading the labels and looking for options. Now, before we conclude our talk, and then we will go back in for again class, is we have 16 ways to eat less sugar without missing it. Now, Ashley can go over these with you. We're not going to read all the verbiage, but just the highlights of them. So you can just have them. Hold on. I'm going to press it up. Yeah.
I used to, back before I really paid attention to sugar, I used to buy things like kefir and yogurt. And now, of course, we know that there's so much added sugar in that. So
Yeah.
I'm always like looking in that section for like healthy options in probiotics.
Right. There's on here, and we'll go over that. Just hold that, an option on here for, and these are options, but this is something that you can just say, well, if I need to make one change, what would it be? So Ashley, if you want to start reading, and then as I continue to.
And Georgia, on your I found that sauerkraut is one that more than other fermented vegetables. A lot of times you can find them for they don't have added sugar. Which is suggestion or kombucha too. Some have added sugar though. You have to be really careful. But I believe that are some ways like, you can sweeten it without regular sugar, like honey or maple syrup. Make sure you look for high quality carbs, so sugars, a simple carb. So it's important to consume more complex carbs, just being intentional on or being mindful of which carbs you choose. Number four, don't drink your sugar. So there's examples of common drinks that have a bunch of sugar in that often have sugar is not going to help out with it. Number five, take your time. So don't be hard on yourself. Cold turkey can be really hard when it comes to putting sugar because it is very addictive. Number six, beware of packaged bars. So protein bars, granola bars, sometimes you get healthy, but look at the ingredients, look at the sugar content because they can sneak in a lot of times. Number seven, play your yogurt. Um, so just being mindful of the different types of yogurt there are, and also picking yogurt that has less sugar than others. Eight, get enough sleep. So sleep is very important, especially if you're able to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. When we don't get enough sleep, sometimes our hormones go crazy and we start craving more sugar at high hours. Nine, trick your palate. So there's some ways that you can trick your palate.
No, go ahead.
You can trick your palate. So like sniffing cinnamon or vanilla before you eat. If you're really craving sugar and you're more intentional on that, you can sniff some of the foods that are on here and that is supposed to help with cravings. Number 10, avoid sneaky sources. So as you guys saw from this activity, sometimes sugar shows up in places that you don't expect. So, those kind of activities is one that is pretty common is ketchup, barbecue sauce, or the condiments. There's always a lot of sugar in those. Number 11, use less sugar if you're baking, or you can cut sugar in half. A lot of times you don't need to go that different. I also a lot of times like carbonate, which is a lot of times when you uptake certain minerals, it can really help you with cravings. So these are just some tips. There's plenty of brands and there's a lot of resources on them. So if you guys have any want any recommendations, you can use some of these end of the retreat. And yeah, we'll just go over the questionnaire really quick before we move into our yoga session. So, what is the nerve that runs from your brain from your stomach? Vagus nerve, yes. Consider addictive. Yes. Heck yes. Naturally occurring sugar that is your honey and radioactive white sugar. Yes. Yes. Can sugar substitutes help control your weight? No. Sometimes it will in the beginning temporarily, but over time it completely can back out of the system and then cause deficiency there. And number 5, our sugars contain beverages particularly yes. So you guys can make some information in the class and please record this and along with
Thank you, everyone.
So we're going to move into back to the other